of similar figures. And we said like the objective from this lesson is to find the perimeter and the areas of similar polygons. We said that we have or we can use the perimeter or the area of a second shape by using the scale factor from the first to the second shape. This scale factor, we name it with A over B. So if I told you that the scale factor is from a length to a length of the second shape is A over B, so the ratio of their parameters will be A over B2, and the ratio of the area is A squared over B squared. And we solve these two questions. How can we find like this one here? We have two similar polygons. We have the corresponding sides with a ratio of 5 to 7. What is the ratio of larger to smaller? Larger to smaller, that's, I told you that if I have these two shapes as an example, this shape and the biggest one, the small shape is 5 and this larger one is 7. So the scale factor here of smaller
5 over
larger is 5 over 7. And then, and the scale factor of larger to smaller
7 over 5.
is 7 over 5. This is smaller to larger and larger to smaller. Now the first one, what is the ratio of the parameters? The ratio of the parameter of larger to smaller. The ratio parameter. A grade 10, please. When I explain anything, please, I don't want anyone to talk. Okay? I am the teacher here. If I ask you, what is the ratio? You answer. But don't talk while I'm talking. Because some students here know like to listen from the teacher, not from the others. If you talk with me, she didn't listen. What did you talk? What did I say? So the ratio parameter here is larger to smaller. What does it mean? That means 7 over 5, which is the same as the scale factor. Parameter is as the A over B. It's like the scale factor. Now, if I'm asking you about the area, and since all of us know that the unit of area is squared, so I have to say A over or B over A squared. That means 7 over 5, all of them squared, which is 49 over 25. This is now the ratio of larger to smaller of the areas. So from this problem here, we learn that if we have a scale factor and I asked you about the ratio of parameter, you have to tell me A over B, number to number, as we know what the meaning of ratio. If the ratio of an area, you just put a square to the A over B. This is the first use that if I give you a scale factor, that's helped me to find the ratio of the parameters and the ratio of the areas. Now, sometimes we can use the scale factor to find unknown area. Like what? Look at this problem here. In this problem here, you have, as you see, two pentagons. The first one has a base of 4. The smallest one has a base of 4. And the second one has a base of 10. And he told me that the area of the smaller one is 27.5. What is the area of the second one? For this one here, I know that if I want to find the area of a polygon, I need the side and I need the apotheme. Okay, I have a side, but I didn't have the length of the apotheme. So I cannot find the area of this shape. What I have to do, I have to use the scale factor. The scale factor to what? He told me that I want from the figure to find the scale factor. The scale factor, it says that I need to rate scale, the scale factor. For the scale factor here, I need now to write the first dimension of the dimension of the first shape to the dimension of the second shape, the given to the given. And don't forget the corresponding dimension. I used this side, I have to use its corresponding side. So the scale factor here is 4/10, the smallest one, which is 4/10. This is the scale factor. Then after that, this scale factor, I name it with A/B. I can use it to find the ratio of the parameter, the ratio of an area, and also the parameter and the area. Here now, he told me that the area of the smaller shape is 27.5. So I wrote it now 4/10, the smaller to larger. The smaller here is 4/10. If I wanted now to write it, but in reference to the area, okay, shall I keep it 4/10 or shall I square it? Yes, shall I square it or I shall keep it 4/10?
No, square it.
Square it, yes. Why square it? Because I'm dealing with an area. So I want to use this scale factor for the area, so I square it, which it will be 36/100. So this now is the 36/100 is the ratio of the areas. So I find the scale factor. I square it. After I square it,
4 squared is 16.
oh, yes, thank you. So now, after I square it, I get 16/100. This 16/100 is A squared over B squared. This is the ratio of the areas. That's helped me to find the unknown area. The first area here, which is given for the smaller one, is 27.5. And for the unknown area, we'll name it with X. Is it clear?
Teacher, can you repeat this one?
Okay. Here now, he told me, or from these two shapes, I can write the scale factor, which is 4/10. And I told you from the beginning that the scale factor, it's A/B. It can help me to find the ratio of the parameter, which is also A/B, and to find the ratio of the areas, which is A squared over B squared. So I wrote now the scale factor. I need now to find, so for the scale factor, as I told you, I can write it as, or I can use it to find the parameter, and I can use it also to find the area. For the parameter, I keep it 4/10 because I told you it is A/B. And for the area, I should square it. So I have to say now it is 16 over 100, which is 4 squared over 10 squared, or a squared over b squared. So for the parameter, it will be 4 over 10. The ratio for the parameter is 4 over 10, and the ratio for the area is 16 over 100. Then he asked me now to find the unknown area. So which scale factor or which ratio should I use? Should I use the parameter ratio or the area ratio?
The area ratio.
The area ratio. So I will use now the area ratio. For the area ratio here, which is 16 over 100, what does it mean? If it is here area to area, so here I have to put area to area. What is the first, what is the area of the smaller shape here? It is 27.5. And what is the area of the larger one? I don't know. I have to find it. Is it clear now?
Yes, teacher.
Then now I have now to find the larger area by cross product. 16x is equal to moving this one 2 times. Okay, then divide by 16, divide by 16, 27 over 16 is 1. Then we have 9, 95 over 16, I think 8. Nine times 1, 14, no, so it have to be 8. 48. 8 times 1, 8, 12. Come on, لا. So it will be 7. Times 6 is 42. 11. The remainder is 3, 0. So approximately 17.5. ولا 171 sorry 171.5. So x now it will be 171.5. So the area now of the larger shape is 171.5 meter centimeter squared. So it will be number or letter C. The answer, the choice C is the correct answer. Let's have another example with the same idea. The scale factor of two similar parallelograms is 3 to 4. So the scale factor here is 3 to 4. This scale factor, it can help me to find the parameter and also the area. Now, for the parameter, it will be 3 over 4. It will be A over B, the same as it is. And for the area, it will be squared. So, which is 9 over 16. Is it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then now, the area of the larger parallelogram is 96. So the area of the larger is 96. Find the area of the smaller. So why I wrote this? Because I want you to be careful when you put the ratio. So here he told me the word is written here area. So which ratio should I use? 3 over 4 or 9 over 16?
9/16.
Thank you. I will use 9/16. Then this 9/16 is smaller to larger. How can I know why I know this? Because 9 is less than 16. So this is smaller to larger. So up, I have to put the area of the smaller, and down, I have to put the area of the larger. So 9/16 equal to, what is the area of the smaller? I don't know. I have to keep it as x. And for the larger, it is 96. Now, after that, I have to use x to find x. By cross product, 96 times 9 equal 16x. Divide by 16, divide by 16. So x, it will be 96 times 9/16. It will be 54. So the area of the smaller shape is 54, what's the unit? Inch squared. Is it clear now?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
So you are welcome. So when I have the scale factor, I know that I can use it to find two things: the ratio of the parameter and the ratio of the area. If the question asks me to find the ratio of the parameter, I will use A/B. And for the area, I will use A²/B². Then after that, I have to choose the best ratio or the correct ratio. Then beside it, I have to write the same ratio. If it is smaller to larger, I should write it in the second term, smaller to larger. If it is larger to smaller, I should write it larger to smaller. Sometimes I tell you, and sometimes you have to know it from the shape. By logic, you say that the smaller shape have smaller area. Now, let's use it now also to find the parameter shape, the parameter ratios. The triangles are are similar. What is the scale factor and what is the ratio of the parameters? If you know that, look at these two shapes here. From these two shapes, he told me about the area of the first shape and the area of the second shape. So he told me about the ratio of the areas, which is A²/B². Is it right?
Yeah.
He gave me the areas. So I didn't write it as A/B. Be careful. I have to write it A²/B². So A²/B², the smaller to larger. The smaller one is 50 and the larger one is 98. This is the ratio or the ratio of the area ratio or the ratio of the area. I found it now from these two shapes. Now, he asked me now to find the scale factor and the ratio of the parameters. This is A²/B². To find the scale ratio, he asked me to find it is A/B, but I have A²/B². So what I have to do? To find A/B, let's take the square root. Here I have A²/B². I need to find A/B. So I want you now to take square root of both sides. And all of us know that the square root of A²/B² it will be A over B. Why? Because A squared over B squared, it is like this. It can be written like this. And the square root, so the square root cancel the square. It will be A over B. So A over B is the square root of 50 over 98. Let's now simplify it. 50 over 2 is 25, and 25 over 2 is 49. Yes, 49, yes. So here it comes like a square root of 25 over 49. Or you can say it is square root of 25 over square root of 49. Is it right?
Yes, teacher.
So I will say now that the scale factor, it will be 5 over 7.
Over 7.
This will be the scale factor. So the scale factor, which is A over B, it will be 5 over 7. And, or wait, please.
Teacher, what if we make it 98 over 50?
The scale ratio, it will be B to A.
So it's okay?
Yes. So now the scale ratio here, that's we found it. Which is A to B, well, we found it like 5 over 7. So what is now the ratio of the parameter? It will be 5 over 7 or 25 over 49?
25
over 7.
5 over 7.
5 over 7.
Because, as we said, the scale ratio is A over B. From it, I can find the ratio of the parameter, which is also A over B, and also it can help me to find the ratio of the area, which is A squared over B squared. In this question, he gave me A squared over, sorry, he gave me A squared over B squared, and he asked me to find this one and this one. As you see, it's A squared over B squared. So under square root, you can find A over B, which is the scale ratio. If you find the scale ratio, you can find the ratio of the parameter. Is it clear now?
Yes, teacher.
Look at this got it here. The areas of two similar rectangles. Okay, so here what did he give me? He gave me the areas of two similar rectangles are. So from this one, 1,875, and the second one, it is 135. So which is the smaller shape and which is the larger shape?
135 is the smaller shape.
The smaller. Yes, thank you. So this is the smaller and this is the larger. This is the smaller and this is the larger. Now then, the second step. He asked me to find the ratio of the parameters. Since now I have the areas, so I'm talking about A squared over B squared. Let's write it as larger to smaller. So the larger to smaller. The larger here is 1075 over 135. This is the ratio of the areas. The ratio of the areas, as we said, it is a squared over b squared. To find a over b, what we have to do?
You have to take the square root of
The square root of
and of 1875 and the square root of 1135.
Yeah. So then you can find it. You can do it like this. By the way, sometimes don't use the calculator. The calculator, like if you divide it, it gives you with the square root, it gives you a number like 3 squared, something like this. I don't want it. The first step, you have to divide 1875 by 135. After you divide it without square root, you get 125 over 9. Then this 125 over 9 is a squared over 2b squared. So a over b, the square root of 125 is what? 5, or we can say it as, yes, okay, keep it as 5 square root of 5. And for the 9, it's a 3. So the a over b here is what? Is 5 square root of 5 over 3. Is it clear?
Yes.
Teacher, thank you.
This is now what? A over b. I need now to find the ratio of the ratio of the parameters. What is the ratio of the parameters?
A over B, which is
5 square root of 5 over 3. Thank you. Now, let's make it as an example if you are in the quiz and it comes as a multiple choice. If you find 5 square root of 5 over 3, it's correct. And if you find it like 3 to 5 square root of 5, it's also correct. But if you find it like 125 over 9, it will be not correct. Okay? So if you write it as larger to smaller or smaller to larger, you will get the same ratio.
okay, teacher.
Okay? So they will be the same. Just put the denominator into numerator and numerator into denominator. But you will have the same ratio because my ratio is larger to smaller. But as an example, Rose's ratio is smaller to larger. But we must have the same ratios. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you, teacher.
Yeah.